And what's happening, guys? Forgive whatever happened there a few minutes ago. I'm not too sure what actually went down. People are saying there's no audio now on YouTube. What's going down there? Let's see what the crack is. Oh, we got two audios going on here now. Boom, just cancel out one of them. Boom, there we go. We should be coming through a bit better there now to you guys. Let me know in the comments what the crack is if there's any issues there with the stream going out to you. Seemed to have a hiccup with the last attempt to go live there a few minutes ago. The stream just shut down. Literally as I was just about to start chatting with you guys, the stream just decided to go kapooey. So I don't know what that's all about. But yes, guys, welcome along to another episode of 420 News, brought to you by Martin's World, and I'm your show host, Martin Condon. So what's going on out there, guys? Hopefully everybody's good. Yeah, Hunter, I sounded like a robot because there was two sources of audio going through to you there for some reason. As I said, I was messing around with the stream there and my location. I was saying that actually the last stream to myself, I didn't realise I actually was after being shut down. But yes, it's all good for R420 supplies as well. Hopefully we'll be seeing you this Saturday, R420 supplies. We missed you there on Wednesday, but it's you know, as you have to do, man. You have a business to run. Couldn't get somebody to cover you, man, and sacrifices you make to cater for the community, our community, the old Kavanagh community. So guys, check out R420 supplies, r420.ie, and you get all of those, everything you need over there, all of those goodies. Who else in the audience there? Zombie Nation, what's happening, Zombie Nation? One of the crew, one of the panel members there from High and Homegrown. Zian, how you doing, my pal? Just packing up another old bowl of civil disobedience there now because I already talked on the 421. As I said, I didn't realise the stream was after stopping there like 5 minutes ago, and I was after doing a bowl and everything, the quick introduction, a bowl, and I was like, I'm not even fucking live. What's going on there? But sure, what can you do? Thank God you all didn't see that blunder. Mr. Finnegan, what's happening, my pal? It was a pleasure to be able to share an old journey home there from Dublin with you the other night. Although you were very quiet, but I'd imagine that was because the day that we were after putting in, trying to strike up an old conversation there with Mr. Finnegan, and yeah. It was a good crack though. It was a great day out there, guys. It was a pleasure to meet so many people there on Wednesday. Shout out to Rashers. It was a great crack there to catch up with you as well, Rashers, and a nice one for hooking me up with the old battery pack at the end to charge my phone. Fucking phone had died of dead after all of the streaming there on the day. Literally just after 420, I say not long after 420, the battery was down onto its last legs. But you know, fair play to the phone for being able to hold out that long. In total, we might have streamed live for over 2 hours there on Wednesday for 420 above in Dublin. Excellent crack above there it was. It was great to see a good turnout as well on the Wednesday. There was worries there by some of the campaigners that, we weren't going to see, more than 100 people show up, but definitely we had about 150, possibly close to 200 people there to show up throughout the course of the day. So it was great. And, as we marched up through Dublin there as well on Wednesday, the public as well we got a great reception from them. Many people getting out their phones, many people cheering at us as we were going by. Nobody was jeering at us, that's the positive. Everybody was cheering us on. They were like, yes, go on, free the weed. So it was an epic day. And that's going to feature as part of the 420 news. We'll have a bit more of a discussion on it there in a couple of minutes. Let's get a ball in first, and we'll shoot into the hot box then and see who else is in there. Oh, tasty. That reminds me, in a couple of seconds, I'm going to run and I'm going to get some special bud. I got given a lovely, lovely gift from a very special grower out there. And I think it's so special that I'm actually going to stop right now and go and get it. So 1 second. And we're back. Got some refreshment while I was out there as well. This is a really cool tub. So like, not only did I get an extra special gift inside it, but the container itself it's quite a little gift as well. Smell-proof container, little airtight thing, so you can't really pull this part too much. It sucks itself back in. Press the button up top, releases the little air seal inside, and then you can slide it off nice and easy. Lads and ladies out there, if you could only smell what I just got. Good lordy. Fair play to the grower involved in this, guys, and I suppose not to keep you waiting any longer is the identity of that special grower. It's the past guest on the show. It is our very own Green Tea. Green Tea grew this absolutely amazing. Oh, I'm going to cover my face because it always tries to focus on my face. There we go. This absolutely amazing lemon OG. So OMG is it definitely? It's turpalicious. It smells so delicious. Very citrusy, lemony, fruity. Not very like. It's got a fruity one. It's definitely like you can get the hint of citrus there, but it's like not in your face lemon, but it's like, oh my god, that's citrusy. It's like very nice. So not to rant on about it too much longer. We'll grind a bit up. Oh yes, it is an absolute honor to have met up with Green Tea there on Tuesday evening. We had quite a session, myself, Green Tea, and three others. I'll hold back names. Scatnist, I suppose I can say Scatnist. Podge, I can say Podge. And I suppose shit. I'm trying to think of your YouTube name. It is very much your name, isn't it? But I don't want to say it. But there was a fifth person there, and I can't think of his YouTube name, but I think it is like his name. But the five of us all chilling out there, and it was great. There was about 10 or 12 different cannabis strains floating about, all grown by the people who were present there, which was absolutely amazing. There was some crystalline entity floating about there as well, Temple Grower, and that definitely impressed the people who got to consume it there on the day. So again, that there was lots of compliments paid there towards yourself on the evening above there, TG. Your nose was probably tingling, you know, or isn't that what they say? Your nose gets itchy if someone's talking about you. If someone's wanting on your grave, you get a shiver then. Mistaways, that's it. Mistaways, yeah. I was like, I can't think of his YouTube name, and I was like, I knew it was something close to his name, and Mistaways. There we go. Yes, but yes, green tea. This lemon OG is absolutely spectacular. Yum yum yum. That's going to be delicious. So we're going to get one more bowl of the civil disobedience in here on 420 News, and we'll get through some of your comments that are flying in there in the hot box. It's great to see so much interactivity coming in there through the hot box, and a nice audience out there as well at the moment. There we go, bowl packed, ready to be hit. Zombie Nation, Kerncraft stole my shit. Scatnist as well saying here, Mr. Finnegan, you look blasted being recognition after coming back to our social club. Hunter says, man, I was in and out of sleep on that bus on the way home. Nice. At least, you know, it was a faster bus journey. Any bus journey you can fall asleep on is a good bus journey. Rain and Rocks, happy Friday all. Great day Wednesday. Looking forward to tomorrow. Nice one, Rain and Rocks. Rain and Rocks, if you bump into me there on Saturday, come over and say hello and introduce yourself as Rain and Rocks, just so I can put the face to the name. Some people coming up to me and they're like, oh, I'm so and so, and I'm like, do you have a YouTube name? Do you have a Facebook name or something like that you'd be using, an alter ego? And then I'm just kind of like, oh, so that's who you are. So do definitely come over and say howdy there at Rain and Rocks on Saturday. And if you get by to me early, I might have something nice. A nice confectionery treat. Speaking of confectionery treats, actually, I think we've got some leftovers here from Wednesday. I don't want to keep dropping off camera, but it's right behind me. I'm going to grab my brownie. Yes. I'm not going to be eating too much of this on air because it's going to be very rude to be sitting in front of a microphone. But I managed to bring 2 brownies home with me. Just taking these out of the fridge. One of them has a little nibble out of it already, I think. Might have got hungry the other night, but these things are delicious. Get you a nice little view of it there. So, boom. Make sure I don't spill crumbs everywhere. Oh, these are so nice. And they're out of the fridge now, so that they've kind of lost their moistness, but they've got a fierce bite to them. Yum. We'll get into those in a little while. First, let's do TG's green teas, lemon OG. Thanks again, green tea. Oh, guys, I can't wait to meet more and more growers out there that taste the fine produce that gets produced here in Ireland by the many cannabis growers out here. I've gotten to taste, I would say about maybe 10 or 20, somewhere in that region, 10 or 20 different people's grows. So I definitely would like to expand upon that in a not too distant future. Oh, man. That is ridiculous. Green tea. Take a bow. Oh, so nice. Absolutely delicious. That was green tea's lemon OG. I just consumed as part of an act of civil disobedience there on the 420 News. Scoozy. Anybody else out there in the audience? Temple Grower saying it looked like a great turnout. It was indeed. It was great for the Wednesday. Stefan Kavanagh, what's happening, Mr. Cav? Hey, all things are good for all in Ireland's cannabis community. The community is strong. It's vibrant. It's really looking up for us. But as will be seen in the news as well, there is still people out there, unfortunately, falling foul to cannabis prohibition. It was great there on Wednesday to be able to kind of sit in the presence of Gardaí and not be fearful of them, and actually for once, for a change, and it's a very welcome change as well, actually feel like the guards were there to protect us rather than to victimise us. It was great. One guard outside of the Leinster House actually had to step into the kind of the office, the security hut of Leinster House, because the civil disobedience, it was so strong in the air. He was probably a bit fearful that he might have partook in the civil disobedience. There was one, that there was a superintendent as well, a Garda superintendent. He was on the way in. And I don't know, was he holding his breath because he didn't want to be breathing in the smoke, or was he holding his breath because he took a big waft in and he was like, oh, I'm going to hold that in and get an extra kick off it. But he was seen kind of holding his breath drive past us going into Leinster House. It was quite funny too. I definitely think it was the latter. I think he got a nice waft come in the window and he's, take that in there now. Make it easier to deal with these old fucking clowns inside in Leinster House. And it was great. So Senator Lynn Ruane drove out past us as well. She got a massive reception by the protesters there. A nice big chair for Senator Lynn Ruane, and as well for Gino Kenny when he came rolling out just after 4:20. A massive chair as well for Gino Kenny there on the day. Excellent stuff. Hunter says, got some Tropicana Poison and Red Strawberry Banana from GT. Both beautiful. Tropicana reminds me of a fruity, sour diesel. I got to taste that the other night as well. I was actually absolutely blown away by that Tropicana Poison. As nice as the Lemon OG was, I really love lemon strains, and I think this was really nice. That Tropicana Poison by Green Tea was it's off the charts. Like that was a really nice. It really hit in terms of appearance, but just once you grinded it and once you got it sparked, oh my goodness, the aromas that was coming from that bud. Whew. Well done, Green Tea. And yes, Hunter, she is an absolute legend. Not a bother raining rocks. Zombie Nation as well says, I had a feeling it was you, Miss Always. Just looking through there now. Scatnist, you should have been beyond recognition. Stone beyond recognition. Yeah, that makes a bit more sense now, Scatnist. I was trying to make sense of that there as well a while ago, but I said I'd just move along rather than... Pad Whelan says, great old job on Wednesday, Marty Boy. Yes, I'm going to try to get an edit of some of the footage I captured there as I just kept recording live. I kind of got caught up with a few conversations as well with people as we went by, but I was kind of a bit conscious of who I was putting on camera as well, letting people know, hey, I'm live here as well, and I wasn't just putting the camera on people's faces. But yeah, I'll get a nice edited video there from Wednesday up at some stage. I'm sure the guys at Major Cannabis Reform are probably working on something as well. There was some professional photographers, videographers there on the day, so I'm sure they've got some excellent footage coming as well. Oh, nice. Temple Growers flipping some tomorrow. Crystalline Entity, is it? Nice. Green Tea, welcome to the show, Green Tea. We were just chatting about you there, Green Tea, but it was all nice things to say. Says, sorry I missed the start. I got no ding to my phone. God damn you, YouTube. Will you ever ding people? Let them know when Martin's going live. But yes, welcome along anyway, Green Tea. I was telling people all about the produce that I got to consume there from yourself over the week, during the week. Yeah, the Lemon OG was absolutely spectacular, but I think the Tropicana Poison was the real winner of the Tuesday evening there. We stayed up right into the early hours of Wednesday morning until we celebrated 420 twice that day. I think it was about 4:30 when we decided, to put the head down and call it a night before the protest the next day. Yes. So yes, as I say, guys, the cannabis activists in Ireland were busy this week in the run up to 420. So that's the first headline that's going to be coming at you from 420 News today. It says there was a number of events that were held in 420 across Ireland and Ireland's capital. There were 2 events going on in Dublin, and there was one going on down in Kilkee, County Clare. And I'm just going to open up John's Facebook page, as that's where the photos there for this story are coming from. And that tab got closed. Darn it. But John O'Regan from the Cannabis Activist Alliance and a hopeful of establishing the cannabis, Ireland's first cannabis party. So John O'Regan, I'm just going to open up his Facebook here. Here we go. There we go. So there we see our buddy Mr. O'Regan, past guest on the podcast. Thought he had a photo up there. He has a video up there because he went live. I think he might have sent the photos in Messenger possibly. Here we go. Oh, the site is muted.
The minute I set up here, I got chatting to people.
Hold on a second, there goes. John O'Regan.
Greetings from Kilkee. It's 4:28. I got chatting the minute I set up here. I got chatting to people, and I was on 10 minutes late for 4:20. Happy 4:20, everybody. This is. Give a quick look around, see what's going on in Kilkee. There's the beat. Hold on a second. I can do this. Can I go around here the other way?
Go on, John.
No, I don't know. There we go. So this is Kilkee.
I like myself with the technology at times, but
loads of people, loads of kids, having a great time.
Jing, 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 jing. John's flying the flag for cannabis. Yes.
And there's people over already checking the place out, looking for interested in cannabis, I suppose, and what's the story and what's going on with it. So happy 420 from Kilkee.
That's a love there going out for John. Yes, so John O'Regan flew the flag for cannabis down in Kilkee as he was unable to make it up to Dublin. Transport in Ireland, you know, it is what it is. It's a pain in the arse to get around the place at times, especially if you're over in the other side of Ireland from Dublin. But despite, you know, the inability to make it out there to the protests in Dublin, he went out there himself on the day, flying the flag for cannabis, and he's an absolute legend for doing so. So fair play to John, as he added to the number of events that actually took place in Ireland on 420. And he also was sharing the speech outside of the Dáil there as well that happened on 420. So legend for that. John, you did put up a post there. It was on the Cannabis Activist page, wasn't it? Because John then, as great as it was there on the day for himself, later that evening he had the cops call around to his gaff. I believe he posted up here inside in the Cannabis Activist Alliance group. John, where are you in here? I know it was in here that it went up. But anyway, look, I'm not going to be able to find the post. I'm going to close this up there. But John O'Regan then had a knock on the door by the cops later on that evening. So again, you know, he was out there protesting on the day, much like ourselves. And later on that evening, the reason why he was protesting, it happens again. You know, he gets a knock on the door by the cops. And this time it was just kind of a case that they wanted him to come down and give a voluntary statement because the analysis for some plants that he's going to be getting most likely charged with cultivation of cannabis for came back. So the cops want them to come down and give a voluntary statement because they kind of have the evidence they need in that regard, you know, as to was he growing cannabis or not. It looks likely that it's positive he was. So they want him to come down. Now, they were nice enough to go in and leave him kind of come back down on a later date as he was cooking food at the time. But after he called, it left him quite distressed, you know. He was quite anxious about it. He was having panic attacks as well into that evening. And I know John struggles enough with probably a bit of insomnia at night time, but that added to that inability then to have a meaningful night's sleep and a proper restoration of the body. You know, that stress, that anxiety that John experienced, that night of sleeplessness because of the knock on the door, because of the forthcoming meeting with the guards where he used to give a statement with that, and then the pending court cases that will come off the back of that. That's doing far more damage to people like John O'Regan than cannabis ever is going to do. Like, they talk about cannabis being bad for your mental health. Well, how bad is it for your mental health to be regarded as a criminal in society for doing something so benign as using cannabis and using it for therapeutic reasons? John O'Regan has been on the show in the past. He talked about it. Cannabis for him is a beneficial therapeutic tool, which in his regard he does not view his use of cannabis as abuse, and that needs to be respected. John O'Regan's able to live a normal, healthy, functional life, and cannabis enables a higher quality of that life. So what business is it of the government or of the guards as to what he is doing, especially in the privacy of his own home? If John O'Regan decides to grow cannabis for his own use, that should be respected. That should be your human right. That should be no business of the government. And the fact that they've made it their business with this prohibition of cannabis is a violation of your right of privacy. And that's a fundamental human right, a right that they have no real right to violate. And we allow them to do it time and time again. People all the time allow them to do it because you kind of sound like a bit of a nutbag, really, when you go out there and start arguing for cannabis as a human right, given all the shit that's kind of going on in the world. And, you know, I can kind of see the argument there, you know. But at the same time, when I read the acts there, the human rights, I can see a number of them that are actually being violated. So I don't care how nutty I look when I say it, but yes, the prohibition of cannabis actually is a violation of our human rights. It's not a human right to be able to consume cannabis, but it's a human right to be able to choose to consume cannabis. And you shouldn't be criminalized for doing so, especially when it harms nobody else. The act of criminalizing them is where the harm actually there lies. So again, you know, I just have to tip my hat there to another fellow cannabis activist, another legend out there, John O'Regan. Well done for going out there flying the flag. I was very unfortunate that you did get that knock on the door on 420. It was a shame, you know, that you couldn't have ended that day on a high, you know. But, you know, despite it anyway, we will overcome this, and together we're stronger, guys. And it was a tremendous day out there Wednesday for fellow cannabis campaigners. And we'll continue to campaign. Saturday is going to be another excellent day out. So that's going to be the second event that's going to be going on up there in Dublin on Saturday, the 23rd, when we're going to be again getting out as a community gathering and campaigning under the campaign of civil disobedience, where people are going to be encouraged to bring their own cannabis as they were on Wednesday to the Dublin's Phoenix Park, and we're going to openly consume the cannabis under the watch of Gardaí, and Gardaí are going to respect our right to consume cannabis as a protest. But they can respect our right to consume cannabis and break the law as a protest. I just really wish they would respect the right to be able to do it as a means to producing a therapeutic tool, a medicine, if you will, for your own personal use, or for a family member who might not be able to do it for themselves. You know, you should have that right to do it, and the guards should respect that too. Do you know, why is it the guards can turn a blind eye on the Wednesday there for 420, on July last year, and the many other protests that we went out for last year? They can turn a blind eye. But meanwhile, if you're an epilepsy patient, if you're a chronic pain patient, if you're a cancer patient, and you decide to grow cannabis for your own use, they can't turn a blind eye for that. Like, I just really don't understand that. The logic and all of that. It makes no sense at all. But again, I tip my hat to the Gardaí who were there on the day, who did turn a blind eye, who did not interfere with any of the protesters who were out there on the day. And it did allow us to consume our cannabis peacefully as part of a civil disobedience protest. And I really hope the media picks up on that soon, because it really goes to show that the act of consuming cannabis, the act of possessing cannabis, it should not be a criminal issue. Because, like, if you can do it in front of a guard and the guard doesn't have to intervene, it really goes to show how much of a crime it actually is. Because if you were out there arguing for the legalization of any other real crime, I don't know, think about it, you know, like driving without insurance or so, I don't know, driving without insurance, there is victims there, I don't know, I'm murder, theft, you know, easy ones there to be able to make comparisons for. But you know, a guard wouldn't be able to turn a blind eye. They would have to intervene. If you're driving down the road without insurance, guard has to intervene. But if you're consuming cannabis, they don't have to intervene. Stephen Kavanagh says, right of autonomy more so than privacy. We all have a right to consume what we choose ourselves. But, the right to liberty, and inside that, your right to liberty has been taken away because of a choice that you make that affects nobody else but you. Your right to privacy has been taken away so that they can kind of govern this prohibition of cannabis, because if a cop suspects you of being in possession of cannabis, you've no longer got a right to privacy. They're going to rip the pants off you, buddy. Diglon is Anam Dum. Sad to hear the shades raided him later. For feck's sake, I know the story, what he's going through. Diglon, they didn't actually raid him. I think he just got a knock in the door, and he was asked to come down to the station to give a voluntary statement. And he was like, well, look, I'm cooking dinner and stuff, so, and I think he was saying that the smell of cannabis was definitely in the air as well when they knocked at the door. So again, fair play to the guards for not actually coming back and raiding his house then later on after that. Or making him actually just go to the station that evening. I believe he has to go down on Tuesday to give a voluntary statement, and we'll stay in touch with John and see how that develops. And again, as I say, guys, like John O'Regan and many others out there, guys, if any of you find yourself in front of the courts, if one of us goes down, I believe we should all be going down. We need to stand strong together. And if John O'Regan ends up in prison, or any of the other followers of the show or the supporters of the campaign are to end up in prison, then believe me, we will be doing a big campaign out here after you. And if we have to set up an encampment outside of prisons where cannabis growers and cannabis prisoners are being held, then so be it, As I said, if John O'Regan was to end up in somewhere like Limerick prison, you can be for sure there'll be some live streams happening from up and protests happening from up outside Limerick prison. And as I said, if we have to set up an encampment, I wouldn't hesitate in doing so. Diglon, nice one there. Diglon has sent in an old super chat there a couple of minutes ago. Absolute legend, Diglon. Nice one for that. And there's no emojis or anything attached to this one. Says handy feckin' banner. The banner, that's the old club name for Claire, isn't it? Sorry, just going to get me Ishka. B Mooney, pleasure bumping into you there as well on Wednesday. Nice one for introducing yourself. Also on Wednesday, guys, as well as a protest and a march happening above there in Dublin, I got to give credit to the guys over on the Crown Reddit. Just going to open up the Reddit page there, but the guys from the Crown Reddit, some of their volunteers, I believe there was 10 or 20 of them above there, somewhere in that region anyway, and a number of them came down to the Cannabis Activists Alliance protest, that march that was held afterwards. So it was great to be able to bump into them. I'm going to pop up their post. I believe there they are. Yes. So this is the photo there over on Reddit from the guys. So there they go. They took to the streets there on Wednesday, and they went out handing out leaflets above there in Dublin. So fair play to them. The leaflets were quite nice. Had a very kind of medical cannabis feel to them. So that was good. But I don't believe that they are campaigning for medical cannabis. They're campaigning for wider cannabis legalization as part of that. So it was great to see them out there, and it was great for them to be out there destigmatizing the use of cannabis as well. Their reception that they got from the public out there, according to the volunteers, was very positive. They were very well received, and the people that they spoke to on the day were actually very supportive of the campaign for cannabis legalization in Ireland. More so for medical cannabis, but again, a large majority of people still in support of the wider legalization of cannabis there in Ireland too. So it was great to see. They got some pictures up here as well from the protest. There was an excellent day out. The sun was shining on us yet again. I see some members of the Cannabis Activists Alliance there. Teresa, Amy, what's happening, guys? Stop the war on drugs. I know that person there as well. I know those two beautiful people. Don't panic. It's organic. Yes, nice to see that out there flying high as well. Shout out to JW High Power if you're out there. What's happening, my man? That my buddy JW High Power gifted me this lovely banner there. after the protest above in Phoenix Park last year. Oh, there's this fella. You might know this guy. He does a podcast called Martin's World, and does news sometimes 2-3 times a week. Yes, check him out, Martin's World. And this guy is Gino Kenny, TD pushing the bill for cannabis legalisation, apparently going to be published later this year in June or July. So I look forward to that one from him. The guys were also taking part as part of an international cannabis conference. This guy, Davey, Barry, crap, gonna have to click in to get his name now. Brendan, Dave, Barry, Brendan. There you go. Brendan took part as a speaker for the International Cannabis Conference there, again flying the flag high for the Irish cannabis community. So well done to the Crown, and well done to the major cannabis group. Major group for cannabis reform. Jesus, I got tongue-tied on that one. Major group for cannabis reform, and well done to all in the Cannabis Activists Alliance as well. So a great outing there over the week, and it's not over yet, guys. Saturday is going to be another excellent day, so make sure you stick that into your planner if you haven't already done so. Going to be meeting above there in Dublin's Phoenix Park, 2:00 on Saturday, and we're going to be staying there holding a picnic-style protest. So bring your own cannabis, and should be a great all day. Don't be alarmed if you see some guards there on the way. The guards respected us there on Wednesday. They'll continue to respect the right to protest on into Saturday. There was nobody stopped and searched from the best of my knowledge. It's not been brought to my attention. If there is anybody out there who was stopped and searched there Wednesday, guys, get in touch with me. I'd love to hear from you. But I really do hope I don't hear from anybody, because nobody was searched. But if you are, get in touch. I'd love to hear from you. I'd love to hear kind of what happened, if they took something off you, if you think there's going to be a court date. Let us know, because I'm sure the major group for cannabis reform, the Cannabis Activists Alliance as well, they would love to know, because if anybody was targeted on the way to the protest, we're going to have your back, and we'll raise a campaign around yourself as well. So there we go. In other news then, so that's what was going on there in Ireland this week for 420, and don't forget as well, all of this month is 422. Sorry, getting a bit of a dry one. We have a news article coming out of the Martin's World at the 420 News blog. So just going to open that up there now for you guys. And this news coming out of there is an elderly man was being supplied by with cannabis by a family member. So here we go. So this is the 420 News blog, guys. This is where this is featured in at the moment. So a man who supplied an elderly family member with cannabis during the pandemic is given a 2-month suspended sentence. It says a 35-year-old man who is prosecuted for having cannabis for sale or supply had been supplying an elderly family member with the drug during the pandemic. And this was a feature in the Dundalk District Court last week. The defendant with an address at the time, and I redacted the address out of respect for the defendant, because I don't believe their name and address should be plastered in the media when reporting on these, because it's unfair. I think the only reporting on these should be done is just highlighting the ineffectiveness of the prohibition of cannabis and the waste of resources that goes with it. But the mainstream media, they don't do that. So I've begun to do that since there was an issue brought up there in the not too distant past. And since then, I have been redacting names and addresses there out of articles that I've been rewriting and republishing then on the 420 News blog. But in Dundalk Court, anyway, they heard that 7 small bags of cannabis and 2 larger bags of cannabis were found, along with 15 tablets of the prescription medication Elazopram. After members of the local drugs unit stopped and searched the defendant, who was seen acting suspiciously. Judge Aaron McCairn heard the defendant, who had previously been officially notified by the Gardaí of a threat to his life, is currently living in assisted housing. The defence solicitor added that his client had been legitimately prescribed the alprazolam, but the prescription had expired. So again, I was questioning that had the prescription expired because he was actually using cannabis successfully as part of, to mitigate the symptoms of whatever he was prescribed it for. Were these tablets he had left over then, just lying around the place, that he'd never really used? Or were these maybe tablets that somebody had exchanged with him for some cannabis, and he was just kind of like, yeah, fuck it, I'll just kind of have them in case I ever need them again or something like that? I don't know. But again, 15 tablets, it's, not Pablo Escobar type stuff. And again, even 7 small bags of cannabis and 2 large bags of cannabis. What's that, 750 bags and 2 quarters, 2 half ounces? What's a large bag of cannabis? Like, they don't give an estimate, a value of the cannabis that the defendant was actually caught with in this case. But despite that, anyway, the judge decided to impose a 2-month sentence on the individual, so thereby convicting him of the crime for sale and supply of cannabis, and he had to enter into a bond of good behaviour for 12 months in order to kind of receive that 2-month sentence. So I say here in this article that it's such a waste of time and resources, again, by the Irish state, due to the prohibition of cannabis. The defendant in this situation clearly had some problems, given his prescription of the other brand name for that, Alprazolam, is Xanax. But is it possible that the cannabis was helping him so much that he didn't need to take them as much, leading to his prescription expiring? The elderly relative in this case was also benefiting from the man's actions, and I know myself when my uncle, and may he rest in peace there, shout out to Willie, was in Marymount Hospice. The nurses had no problem with him coming outside for a joint, and would even sometimes help him out in his wheelchair to relax with a joint. And I say here, the man would have went insane if he was denied this, and it was no secret, and it's no secret either then that many people out there who consume cannabis might also sell some cannabis to friends or to family members in order to cover the cost of their own consumption, or just to help friends out who might not have contacts. And you know what I'm talking about there, guys. How many of you out there have picked up a quarter and you split it into 250 bags with a buddy? Well, effectively, you've just engaged in the act of sale and supply. Despite the fact that you might have made a profit off it, you still engaged in supplying. That's sale and supply. It doesn't matter if you made a profit. It's just the act of supplying, and you're into that category. You're into that realm where it carries heftier sentences. I believe up to 3 years for sale and supply in the district court, and if you go to the higher court, then it's kind of sky's the limit then at that point. But anyway, I want to say that I know I've done so myself on many occasions in the past, talking about helping out friends and selling a bit of cannabis in order to cover the cost of the cannabis. And again, I'm not making a secret of it. I'll most likely do this in the future as well, where I'll help some people out who mightn't be able to make a contact. And I'll bridge the gap for those people. I'm not a cannabis dealer. I'm not involved in the importation or the distribution of cannabis in any way. But I am a consumer of cannabis, and therefore, if somebody was stuck, I'm going to help them if I can, where possible. As I said, I might have just picked up a quarter or a half ounce there earlier on, and sure, I'll just say, yeah, sure, look, take a 50 bag there. Out of that, I'll be able to pick up another bit later on. You know the situation, guys. You're not going to be stingy. You're going to help a brother out if a brother's in need. So again, I say here, I'd imagine if you were to ask any of the people who I sold cannabis to over the years if I should be in prison for doing so, you would get a massive unanimous no. And I can only imagine the same would go for the defendant in this case. People are happy to go buy cannabis from a person who's not going to rip them off, but yet the state continues with this failed prohibition of cannabis. People like this man, people like the man in this case, are providing a service in their community, a service which should have been regulated a long, long time ago. Cannabis prohibition hurts everyone who falls prey to it. It costs the states millions every year to uphold, and the only people who benefit from it are the organised crime gangs who make billions selling cannabis. And we all know what these people do within our communities then as well, victimizing young people, enforcing the violent or the collection of drug debts with violence, with intimidation, harassment, all of that stuff. You hear of mothers collecting their children's allowance and stuff like that and having to hand it over to drug dealers in order to cover the debt that their son might have racked up for cannabis, And it's not that cannabis is addictive or any crap that the media would like to make you believe. It's just that it's so easy for a young person to get access to it and to get tick from to rack up a debt. It's not that the young person's addicted, even though when they go before the courts, that's the story they're going to get hell in order to get the sympathy of the court, in order to get leniency of the court, But that's not the case. It's just the case that it's just so easy for it to happen. Why? Because of cannabis prohibition. Not because of cannabis, not because of cannabis's addictiveness or anything like that, but simply and solely because of cannabis prohibition. And because of cannabis prohibition, this man now has to live for 12 months looking over his shoulder, worried and anxious that he might have to the 2-month sentence that's hanging over his head activated if he goes using cannabis for his condition again. If cannabis was not prohibited in Ireland, this man could be getting the assistance from health professionals to use cannabis to help manage the symptoms of his condition, which he required the Xanax initially for. Instead, now, because of cannabis prohibition, he won't have much choice but to revert back to his old prescriptions. So that's an article I have up there. And again, this is just a stock image that I got there from the Envado guys. So it's just a young man sharing a cannabis joint with an elderly man. And, you know, both individuals happy, mutual exchange there. Both individuals are delighted to be able to do so. You know, I don't know who's passing it to who, but it looks like the younger guy is passing it to the elderly guy. And, you know, he's happy to do so. And I was happy to do so. I was more than happy to be able to go out and help out my uncle at the time. And I'm sure the rest of my cousins as well and his son and stuff like that were more than happy as well to be able to go out there and provide a cannabis to him at that time of his need. Do you know? In fact, I'll move on there because we'll get too emotional on that one if I stick on that subject too long. But you know what I'm saying, guys. Cannabis helps many people out there. Cannabis prohibition, the only people that helps, the organised crime gangs. Why are we even continuing with it? I don't understand it. I can't see logic nor sense of it, and I'm so fed up of it. I'm willing to fucking take a stand now and, if needs be, go to prison, you know, to prove a point. This is a waste of time. This is a waste of resources. There's more destruction associated with the prohibition of cannabis than there is with cannabis. I'm going to have to... Oh. We're almost at 4:20. We'll open up the world clock. Almost there. How many? Oh, boom. We literally just rolled over there for 4:20. Accra, Bamako, Dakar, Casablanca, Ayuan, Elo Anyuan, and Azores Islands. So let's quickly pack up a bowl and we'll dive into the final news pieces that I have for you. And I'll have to start saying my goodbyes then after those news pieces. Is again, I have a temporary location there for the podcast today. Don't know if you notice the sound difference here at the moment. But yes, I'm on a time limit, and I think I've probably already exceeded that time limit. But the show must go on, guys. The show must go on, and cannabis prohibition must be brought to an end. So here we go, guys. This is a bowl of lemon OG, again from our buddy old pal out there, green tea. Oh, I never opened up the 4:20 world clock there, feet. Let's blaze. So happy 420 to everybody out there on this beautiful 422. As it's the 22nd of April, and that is 422. Who's that? Mr. Finnegan. What's happening, Mr. Finnegan? Bring us to our next news piece. But I've been asked by Mike Wise not to kind of talk too much about it or something like that, as he's going to be doing his own awards stream in a not too distant future. So I won't say too much about it, but yes, myself and other cannabis activists, the Irish really ran away with it there in the recent awards that was organised there. It's the annual cannabis awards, I believe that's the title of the campaign, the event. But yes, I got voted the Cannabis Activist of the Year. So that's done by Mike Wise, international cannabis activist, initially from America, but I believe he's doing a lot of wakeboarding and stuff like that around Europe at the moment, as he's a big wakeboarder as well. But I got voted the Cannabis Activist of the Year. Gino Kenny got voted the Cannabis Advocate, I believe, of the Year. Amy Brown then got voted the Patient of the Year, Cannabis Patient of the Year. And then Jen Devlin as well got voted the the most outspoken Cannabis Patient of the Year. So Jen Devlin, Amy Brown, myself, Martin Condon, and Gino Kenny all taking awards there. So 4 Irish cannabis activists there, campaigners out there for an award. So that's great old crack. It's a nice achievement. Again, I wasn't even pushing it or publicising that or anything, so I wasn't expecting to take a win in it. I was aware that I got nominated. I think I did mention it there going back a couple of weeks ago, but I should have been a bit more supportive of that. But again, nonetheless, I did manage to achieve a win there. Maybe it was the High Times article or something like that, or maybe it's just my dedicated audience out there, because you're all a bunch of legends, and I really love the support that comes in here through the show. It's absolutely epic at times, guys. Love it. But yes, nice one for that, John. Nice one. Bring me on to that little news piece there. I didn't really want to cover it too much, as my wives asked me not that, but as you mentioned it in the hot box, why in the hell not? ZN, it's 5:20 there. You need to get in the time machine. We have a time machine here on 420 News. 4:20 every hour, and every few hours it's like on the half hour. TG says, nice Martin, good to see you again. I left a response in your RSO thread on Percy's too. Legend, absolute legend. That's not doing too bad either. I'll get pictures in a minute. I was going to go grabbing stuff there again that go showing off. But yes, we did go make some fico there with some lovely leaf last night. TG says, yeah, I'm gonna get some skunk in this bowl and then hail. Nice. If there's some of those beans coming over there, make sure to pack an extra few when you're sending them to GB, and I'm sure he'll pass down some. I would love to experience some more of TG's greatness, especially his skunkiness. Happy Bicycle Day. Yes, shout out to everybody out there who celebrated Bicycle Day on the 19th of April, the day before 420. I seen a great meme out there, actually. It's like it was the Power Rangers on one side and the Mutant Ninja Turtles on the other side. And it's like when the Trippers from 419 meet the Stoners from 420. The Power Rangers being the Trippers and kind of the techno gear. And the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles being, those big stoners and, loving pizza and all of that stuff. But yes, I can't remember where I seen that, and I'm not even going to find it now if I went to look for it, but it was a funny one. So hopefully the description did its service. Will we drive on then with the news? TG says, oh, don't you guys worry. Legend. Provider of seeds over there from the beautiful old Canada. All of Ireland will have some skunk in the trunk very soon. Yes. Just don't tell the police. Zombie Nation says, 710 has no meaning for me. You're not a dabber. Not a dabber. No. Let's drive on with the news then, guys, as we do have 2 more headlines there just to jump through. One more is coming out of Ireland, and it's again a bit of a negative one. A man was arrested after drugs and cash worth over €75,000 seized by cops in Bray. So I have an old image there that I'll pop up on screen there in a couple of seconds. But again, I suppose the reason I'm sharing with you in this is, I suppose there's a couple of reasons. They say crime doesn't pay. Well, there was €37,500 seized here as part of the seizure. So they say crime doesn't pay, but again, if it didn't pay, why are the criminals, so willing to risk, years of their lives, in prison to get out there and get involved in it. Why is the American government offering millions for a couple of skins there off of the Dublin streets who are supposedly not gangsters, they say crime doesn't pay, but meanwhile the guys got millions in assets all over the world. They got millions of a bounty being issued by a government. They're getting pressure now put on by other governments for their extradition, and I think the Dubai have actually caved to some of the pressure there recently in that, and that they've frozen the assets of the Kinahans over in Dubai. But anyway, I'm going to pop this up on screen, and boom, there we go. So there you go, that's €75,000 worth of drugs and cash. And another reason, I suppose, is that the prohibition of cannabis here, there's another example of the prohibition of cannabis, putting it side by side with other drugs. So the other drugs in this case are amphetamines, and the amphetamines in this case were said to be worth €29,100, and cannabis is worth €10,000. So you're talking about a half a kilo of cannabis and God only knows how much amphetamines there. But again, if your young fellas going out there and they're experimenting with a bit of cannabis and they're going buying their cannabis off of this drug dealer, well, now there's a potential for that exchange to be a gateway to other drugs for your young fella, because there's nothing stopping that drug or that drug dealer from saying to your young fella, hey, do you want to try some of this? Do you want some pills? Do you want to try a bit of speed? This is great crack, right? Here, try a bit, and if you enjoy it, come back and buy some then off me, And again, there's nothing stopping them from doing that to your young Johnny or your young Mary if they happen to venture out there at the age of 16, 17, or maybe 15, 14. In some cases, 13 and 12 kids are kind of going experimenting. But I do believe the kids at 12 and 13, that it's a bit more than experimenting. And I do believe that those kids are kids that need, extra help, I suppose, that they've probably been, hurt or damaged in some way prior to that, or they're lacking something in their care and their environment if they're going experimenting with drugs at that young age. Again, there's something about a bit innocent about a kid, maybe having a sup of a pint with their dad or something like that at the pub, no sneaky, no sip there, and there's but again, if your young Mary or Johnny is going out there at the age of 12 or 13 and buying drugs on the street or trying drugs on the street, there's probably something up there at home. There's probably something missing at home for them. And again, you don't want them to be meeting these people who are going to sell them other drugs, because why? They're going to have them out there dealing for them. They're going to have trouble knocking at your door if they can't pay for the drugs that they're consuming. There's going to be big problems there. So this is coming out of Bray, and this is as part of Operation Tara. That operation we talked about here on the show once upon a time, the operation that's costing Irish taxpayers in excess of €14 million just to target drug users and drug dealers. Crazy stuff. 14 million a year, that is. So as part of Operation Tara, this was. The drugs are going to be sent for analysis. Again, another cost to the Irish taxpayer, another resource that's been just burdened and wasted upon this failed prohibition of cannabis. And a statement from the Garda Síochána confirmed, as part of Operation Tara, Garda attached to the EMR East Divisional Drugs Unit seized the combined drugs with a value in excess of €39,000 and cash in excess of €36,450 as part of an operation in Bray, County Wicklow on Wednesday evening, the 20th of April 2022. And it says, following the search of the premises, methamphetamine estimated to be worth $29,100 and cannabis worth $10,000 was seized at the location. The drugs will be sent for analysis. A man aged in his 30s was arrested at the scene and is currently detained under Section 2 of the Drug Trafficking Act. So again, what a waste of fucking time. €10,000 worth of cannabis there. Again, that's going street value, but potential jobs, potential industry there, potential protection for young people there. So many points to be made on just that one story alone. So many issues to be highlighted, caused by cannabis prohibition. Mad. But we drive on from there then, guys, as we go to the final headline for today. And as I said, I was supposed to be doing this in under 30 minutes today, but here we are an hour later. My bad. UK police proudly tweeting about an early morning raid on 420 that found no drugs. Or was it on 421 this raid happened? Can't really remember. But the police in the UK are facing some backlash anyway after members of the force over there tweeted a post to Twitter proudly claiming to have carried out two early morning raids and finding no drugs. Like, think about that, you know, that they went out and they smashed in two people's front doors early in the morning and they found no drugs. But despite that, the cops still went and proudly tweeted about their actions on Twitter. And that led to Neil Woods retweeting it and kind of highlighting it out there to the community as to kind of what went on. But I'm going to pop this up on screen there now for you. So this is a tweet from Neil Woods. Boom, there we go. Nice and big on the screen there so you can all read it as well. So this is a tweet from Neil Woods. And it said, it would have been bad enough if the... sorry, I can't even read it on my screen now. Sorry, I'm just having to open it back up now on my own screen. Here he goes. It would have been bad enough if drugs were found, but police have a duty to the truth, and given the impression that this is a benefit is a lie. This is not reducing crime, Sarge. And that was a reply there because it was Sergeant David Purcell, or Dave Purcell, who tweeted the initial pro tweet on this. He says, just because your rather confused MP shares this on doesn't make it right. You sure post is force policy. So there you go. You see the two front doors after being smashed in. And what you see attached then to the bottom of that then is a reply to the tweet. And it was a reply by a guy by the name of Lee Dale. And he says, "Hi Neil, I remember this happening to our house as a child. I was 10 and my sister, who has learning disabilities, was 12. It was 6 a.m. in the morning and the police said they were acting on intelligence from neighbours. Nothing was found, yet no consideration for the trauma caused to children by doing so." Like, that is effed up. Like, there you go, like, in a nutshell in this, like, you see the cops proudly tweeting about their actions, but completely ignorant to the effects that this is going to have, the trauma that they're creating out there in the community, that the fracturing they're creating with their relationship with members of that community. If you're a young person growing up, and if your parents are consumers of cannabis, if your parents are medical cannabis patients illegally consuming cannabis in Ireland, and your house gets raided, you're not going to like the cops very much, are you? No, you're not. You're not going to have a good impression of them. Do you know, they come and take my dad away. And my dad is a nice guy. My dad didn't, you know, my dad was always there for me. My dad went to work. You know, my dad was whatever, you know, a worker. And was there for me. My dad consumed this flower there and it meant nothing, you know. But it's going to do that, like, you know. So, like, Lee Dale still remembers that to this day. And Lee Dale doesn't look like a young man anymore. You know, he looks a lot older than 10 anyway, in his Twitter profile. So again, you know, lifelong trauma there from that. Lifelong scars, remembering your door being kicked in, cops going through your personal possessions, looking, you know, for what? A bit of cannabis? Because what? So some nosy neighbour couldn't keep their fucking nose to themselves and they said to the cops, "Oh, you know, fucking Johnny over there is growing a bit of cannabis. I smelt it." I mean, next the cops come with the riot squad and blow in your door. Like, that's horrid carry on. There was others out there as well who responded to this. Dr. Rebecca Tidy. So another account over there. I'll pop this up on screen so you can see some of these replies to this post over there on Twitter. So Dr. Rebecca Tidy, who's a journalist, freelance journalist, drugs, organised crime, elections and nationalism, The Independent, Metro, Al Jazz, The Telegraph, Huck, and the Daily Mail. She also lambasted him. She says it's a trauma that cannot be undone by handing out Easter eggs and taking selfies at a community liaison event. And she's sticking that at Dave Purcell there, the sergeant who tweeted that, because on his page there's himself handing out some Easter eggs to the kids within the community. You know, and it's true, you know, for those events he goes out there and hands a couple of eggs to the kids in the community. All of that positive work is being undone by the enforcement of the prohibition of cannabis, because, you know, for maybe the handful of kids or maybe the couple of handful of kids that might come through and get a couple of Easter eggs and a few selfies with the cops and a nice positive experience, how many more kids are going to be traumatized because of these no-knock drug raids that happen early in the morning on their family home? Because again, as I said, that they might be growing a bit of cannabis for medical use or for their own personal use. You know, it's ridiculous. And Leap as well, you know, saying thank you for sharing this important contribution and replying back there to Lee Dale. Get over there, guys. Check out Neil Wood's post on this. There's been a lot of responses on this, and Leap, Law Enforcement Against Prohibition, are actually actively encouraging the sergeant to remove the post due to its distastefulness. So get over there and check it out before it could be gone. Add to it. You know, share your thoughts and opinions on that one too. But back to the hotbox we go, guys, because that's all we have there for the 420 news today. You've all seen this in the past, actually, but I think it's worth, you know, just playing this again one more time, just for the story that's in it, because I'm gonna pack up a bowl anyway.
All over the world know that pictures like this,
and I've seen many of you share this as well already, so well done, guys. Legends.
These are headlines we all know. The police have made another big bust, and they're keen to show it off, with the drugs laid out on a table and the cameras clicking. Senior police love this coverage. They get to bump up their statistics and push for bigger budgets. Politicians use it to convince everyone that policies are working. And journalists know that drug stories always generate clicks. But there's a dirty secret that every cop in that picture knows, that no matter how impressive the seizures look, it makes absolutely no difference to the drug supply. Not only do we never decrease the drug supply, these busts actively increase violence. If you take out one major drug dealer, all you do is instigate a turf war. And in this war, it's the most violent and ruthless criminals who rise to the top. This is part of the reason why drug gangs now exploit children. Even the National Crime Agency, Britain's version of the FBI, recognise that this approach doesn't work. While there is a user base willing to spend millions and millions of pounds on drugs, we will have an issue with illicit drugs in this country. We can't arrest our way out of that. We need to tackle the drivers behind it. Wherever you see police post this kind of drugs photo op, please post this video in the comments so we can continue this discussion. If you're a police officer who, like me, realises that policing the war on drugs only makes the situation worse, then please get in touch. Join the growing international movement. Follow the Law Enforcement Action Partnership, Anyone's Child, and Transform Drug Policy Foundation. Because drugs are a health issue, not a criminal one.
And there you go. I believe I said Law Enforcement Against Prohibition. I believe that might have been an old name or just the American arm of that group. But LEAP is kind of what I would know both of them as, but that's LEAP UK. But if you want to know where this video is, guys, you have to get over to Twitter, and it's up on Neil Wood's page. He has a pinned to the top of his page. It's also on Anyone's Child's page as well. That's another incredible page, an incredible movement led by an incredible woman and campaigners. But yeah, check them out too if you haven't already done so. Anyone's Child too, who initially posted this up to Twitter. It's also on YouTube. I should really, if I can click into this, get the YouTube link. And there we go now. It's on YouTube too. I'm going to share this link around with people in case anybody's looking for it later. It'll be in the description of the show when we finish. I'll add it in there just in case you're not on Twitter. Need to make this as accessible to people as possible, because it's an incredible video in 2 minutes. It really does do a lot to highlight how stupid prohibition really is, and the parading in the media of these stories as successes, and actual fact, they're not no success at all. But comments, guys, comments, get them into the hot box. We'll get through a couple of your comments there, and we'll start signing off then in about like 5-10 minutes. Got a meeting with patients for safe access there. And then we're going to go to the cinema then later this evening to see the Fantastic Beasts, I believe. That should be a good crack, and I'm delighted I've got 2 brownies here for for that. Yes, I think I deserve a bite of one. Oh, yes. Had to leave it come back to room temperature again a little bit, as directly from the fridge, and probably break your teeth. Oh, Temple Grower, what's going on? He says, that's why I went with them. As legit as I could assume, Tom McCormick from Authentic Genetics has some allegedly original skunk from 88, though once removed from Sam via Mel Frank. Oh, so there's an earlier post there I should definitely go back to. Damn, where's my Sensei seeds? That's where you were working with your genetics from the skunk. Skunk number 1 from Sensei Seeds. Don't tell nobody though. Can they come after you for that? I suppose they can't really come after you for that. Like, you can cross it to your heart's content, and then it's just like, you know, that's the beauty of cannabis, and that's how it should remain. It'll be a shame really if it does really get commercialized, and you know, there's all these genetically modified fucking strains out there now, and you know, if you started get found in possession of these things, you know, it's just like, oh well, that's our fucking intellectual property, and you haven't got a license to have it, so we're gonna fucking, you know, come for you. Crazy stuff in the US before with the corn farmers. So if you were a corn farmer in the US, and if you weren't a GMO farmer, and if you grew next to a GMO farmer, well, sometimes there might be inspections of your corn to see if you've got GMO corn on your farm, or if you're illegally using their seed. And sometimes it just might happen that your corn seed could get contaminated with some GMO seed. And so it's crazy things like with cross-pollination and stuff like that. And our organic farms, that's where it was a big problem, because they used to be reusing seed and things like that. Mad stuff. But I wonder what that ever happened with cannabis, you know? Most likely is. There's talks of it out there. I think there's like fucking some autoflower genes already being patented and stuff like that, I believe. At least the process of incorporating those genes into the plant is being fucking patented. Mad stuff, like really mad stuff, like, and it's kind of creepy too, but cool as well. Like, you know, I think there's a good potential, but there's also kind of a very negative potential, as I say, the capitalization, the commercialization of it. Like, you see that crap there in I believe it's Brazil. Brazil have got a problem now where there's been an increase of these glow-in-the-dark fish. They're not native, they're genetically modified to glow in the dark, and they're fucking overpopulating some of Brazil's rivers. And it's like, I don't know, my you know, exaggerating a little bit, but you know, could the Brazilian rivers be fucking glowing in the dark in the not too distant future? And they were talking there, I believe they've done it, where I think they released genetically modified fucking what are those things, mosquitoes, in order to kind of dampen down the mosquito population, because the belief is the genetically modified ones go out there and they breed, and then those offspring are less viable or something like that, or you know, some weird thing it does anyway, where it fucking weakens the gene pool, and there's like less of a population of explosions than has kind of happen with mosquitoes. Man stuff though, GM stuff, man, and it's like, it's coming for cannabis, it's coming. Temple Grower says Neville made some haze crosses, as did Shanti Baba. It's a hazy history, pun intended, as a fuck. Yes, rock on with the puns, brother. Happy Bicycle Day says, Bill Maher mentioned a story where parents got raided because their child snitched a couple's daughter. Yeah, that happens, man. That happens. That's why I say it's better that your kids are in the know than not in the know. Because if your kids are in school or somewhere, you know, and you get some fucking creepy fool who thinks it's like, you know, in their kids' interest that their parents get fucking raided, finds out that the parents might be consumers of cannabis or growers of cannabis, and they're snitching them, you know, and the kid doesn't even know what they're doing. It's just like, hey, Johnny, hey, little Mary, do you ever see your parents with this kind of plant? Do you ever get funny smells in your house? Do you know that kind of fucking intrusive invasion, again, of the privacy of the home because of the prohibition of cannabis? They're trying to find out if their parents are consumers of cannabis, because if they are, you know, they must be bad people and they have to be fucking raided. Mad shit. So yeah, it's always better that the kids are in the know, that they know that, like, yeah, that herb that mommy or daddy consumes, that, like, yeah, it's kind of like alcohol, tobacco, it's not for kids and stuff like that. It's for you. It's a tool for adults to use. And when you're older, when you're old enough to be explained to as the further effects of that, I'll have those conversations too. But for the younger kids, it's just like, yeah, that's for mommy and daddy. It's kind of like the tobacco. It's like cigarette that the kids might see you smoking, a glass of wine, a pint of beer they might see you consuming. Just same. It's not for you. When you're older, we can have that conversation. I think that's a healthy relationship to have as well, you know. But yes. Susie Q says, hi Martin, hope all is well with you. Nice one, Susie Q, and I hope all is well with you, Miss Susie Q. But yeah, no, everything is excellent. Nice and high over here I am on this Fri-HIGH-day 420 news, as we do. But thanks for asking, Susie Q. Scatna says, oh great, idea, Martin. I'll have one of yours now too. Thanks again. Not a bother at all, Scatnist. Not a bother at all. Yes, this movie should be excellent later on. Hopefully I don't fall asleep, and hopefully it doesn't have that effect. As I don't think it will either. We had these the other night, and didn't make me sleepy at all. As I said, we stayed up until late, the early hours. Brought in 2 420s on 420. Go us. We should have went live, actually, when we thought about it. If I'm just thinking about it now, we probably should have done a live stream at 4:20 a.m. there. Right, we're going to read the last few comments there, and we're going to start shutting down the stream, guys, as I am certainly overstaying my welcome. Not that I mean rushed out or nothing like that. Not very accommodating here in this podcast studio. Happy Bicycle Day says, there's a great 30-minute video on YouTube called Why is the World Legalizing Marijuana All at the Same Time? Nice one. I'll have to check that one out later on if I get some time after the movie. But for anybody else out there who might have missed it, it's called Why is the World Legalizing Marijuana All at the Same Time? Apparently it's on YouTube, 30 minutes long. Happy Bicycle Day says it's a great video, so check it out. Daily Talker says, I haven't been able to listen in today, just finishing up my first coding lesson. Oh, nice stuff, Daily Talker. I once tried to learn a bit of coding. Got the Raspberry Pi there. I decided to get it for the kids, and unfortunately they didn't take up an interest as of yet. But I don't know, maybe Alexis might take it under her wing, or maybe Kelsey might get back into it at some stage. But for me, it was just couldn't find the time at the time. Oh, it's all about genetically modified cannabis, says Happy Bicycle Day. Nice one. Yeah, off the back of that little kind of rant I went on about GM cannabis. Ever see a mockumentary called The Bay? I did not. At least not that I can remember anyway. G13 was supposedly government derived, wasn't it? Yeah, that's the story, and as well, not just G13. What was the other one? Fucking TH Seeds had it. Darn it, I can't think of the name of it. There was another one as well. The one where there were like, man. No, it's gone. I can't think of the strain name. Somebody will probably get it into the comments there now. I believe it was by TH Seeds. And it was one that was supposedly used by the CIA in an attempt to kind of come up with like a truth serum of some type or something like that. Can't think of the name of it. But yeah, G13 was supposedly one of those strains as well, government derived. Yeah, Zian, there you go. Zian says he used to work at a school and teachers used to literally ask certain kids. That's it, man, you know, and the kids would unknowingly hang the parents out to dry and completely ruin their futures, like, you know, potentially ruin their futures, because those parents could be really good parents, really good providers, could have really important jobs, and next raid happens, cannabis found, jobs gone, Mary or Johnny, you know, their future is not as bright anymore because they have less opportunity, because of the fucking raid and the parents losing the job. And yes, legend, who is that who says MK Ultra? That's the one, MK Ultra. Zien, you absolute hero. Saved my ass there because I went absolutely blank on that. I got seed company right though, at least. TH Seeds had MK Ultra. And apparently as well, I think it's in the description there of the MK Ultra that apparently the strain is from that, I believe. But yeah, there you go. MK Ultra, TH Seeds. Never grew it, never tried it. But there you go. Daily Talker says, my instructor meant in so many languages that I'm not even sure what I'm learning. I think it's called VBA. Yeah, right over my head anyway. All I know is apparently there's Java and Python, I think. I think that's as far as I got. Susie Q says, love Fantastic Beasts, great show and joy. Yeah, I've watched the other ones. I've watched all the Harry Potters as well. So yeah, as I said, I probably watch way too many movies. I enjoy my movies. Definitely a bigger fan of horror and kind of fantasy, sci-fi. But yeah, we enjoyed your romantic movie too. Big fan of dog movies. Big fan of dog movies as well. Shout out to Hachiko fans. I think I had a conversation with TG about this maybe the other night. We were talking about Hachiko and was it what was the other movies? Marley and Me. Great crack the other night. Happy memories, definitely. Happy Bicycle Day says, seems the only justification to keep it illegal because something being illegal isn't the default, even if it was illegal before, right? Is the boogeyman schizophrenia? There's no justification for keeping it illegal, man. There's none. Like there is no justification for continuing to keep cannabis illegal. Like there is not. There's not. Like you just can't. Like anybody who puts up a reason like that, there's so many fucking holes in any reason that's given to keep prohibition in place. So many bloody holes in it. I'd put anybody to challenge. I'll happily have a person on the show who's kind of going to stand and argue for prohibition, and I'd gladly, myself personally, will pick holes in anything they put forward. Temple grower developed by the Canadian government for cancer patients. There you go. Happy Bicycle says violence that's unjustifiably done. Theft, adultery. Oh yeah, and just just lost in conversation there. ZN says Seedsman did a run of it too. Still have 10 seeds I think in my collection. Nice. Oh man, I just wish I could explore cannabis growing more fully. I really do. I wish it wasn't prohibited. I wish it wasn't restrictive. I wish it wasn't something that you had to hide. I wish it wasn't something that was going to bring fear into my household if I was to do it here. Because that's currently what's prohibiting me from doing it. My campaigning, my activism, the how out there I am. Currently can't explore it as fully as I would love to. But yeah, you have to campaign, sacrifices have to be made and all of that. But yes, we will go on guerrilla growing and all of that stuff. Really good fun outdoors this year. Stefan Cav says, just about to watch that doc. It seems to highlight how cannabis protects us from mind control. Should be good. Nice one. Sounds interesting. All right. So guys, look, I will love you and leave you as I've got 4 minutes now to head on over there to the guys at the Patients for Safe Access. Shout out to everybody at the Patients for Safe Access. Shout out to Jen Devlin, Alicia Maher too, some of the amazing patients here, and the very outspoken patients too. So we'll drive on, guys, and we love you and leave you. We'll be back with more 420 news next week. I don't think I'll be on Monday, guys. I will be doing something on Wednesday, though. Might get live on Monday evening with Alexis. We might get on to finish off that It Takes Two, or maybe we might do that over the weekend. We'll see. But until then, guys, stay blazed. Keep her lit. Have a lovely weekend, and make sure you don't end up in the 420 news, at least on not in the negative side of it anyway. I'll redact your name if you do anyway, so not to worry. Much love and peace, guys.